In the heart of a dense forest lived a big friendly bear named Barnaby. Barnaby was a happy bear who spent his days wandering among the trees, smelling the fragrant flowers and enjoying the warm sunlight that filtered through the branches. But Barnaby had a special passion, a deep and unmatched love for one thing: delicious honey. Barnaby could smell honey from miles away. His sensitive nose would guide him to the hidden beehives in the hollows of old trees or among the rugged rocks. And when he found a beehive, his eyes would gleam with a special sparkle, and his mouth would water with longing for the sweet, golden nectar. One beautiful spring day, Barnaby woke up from his winter sleep, feeling very hungry and with a strong craving for honey. He sniffed the air deeply, trying to catch any trace of the sweet scent. After a few moments, his nose picked up a faint but enticing aroma coming from a certain direction in the forest. Barnaby followed the scent with curiosity and longing, passing through bushes and tangled branches. The smell grew stronger with every step, increasing his excitement. Finally, Barnaby reached a huge, ancient oak tree. At the base of the tree, he saw a large beehive hanging from a thick branch. Barnaby couldn't contain himself. He stood on his hind legs, raised his front paws towards the hive, his eyes fixed on the golden honey that glistened between the wax openings. But Barnaby knew that getting to the honey wasn't easy. The bees guarded their hive fiercely, and their stings were very painful. Barnaby began to think of a clever way to get the honey without angering the bees. He first tried to climb quietly, but the bees quickly sensed his movement and began to buzz angrily around his head. Barnaby retreated slightly and thought again. Then an idea struck him. Barnaby remembered seeing a small animal once blowing smoke at a beehive to temporarily drive the bees away. Barnaby decided to try to imitate that. He began to look for some dry twigs and fallen leaves and gathered them in a small pile under the hive. Then he carefully lit them using some stones he knew how to rub together to create a spark. Smoke slowly rose towards the hive, and the bees began to be affected by it and retreated a little. This was his chance. Barnaby quickly climbed the tree, reached the hive, and began to break the thick wax with his strong claws. Golden, sticky honey flowed out, and its sweet scent filled the air. Barnaby dipped his large paw into the honey and began to lick it with indescribable delight. The honey was delicious and sweet, exactly as he had imagined. But Barnaby's joy didn't last long. The angry bees began to return in large numbers, and they started stinging him on his nose and fur. Barnaby felt the pain, but his craving for honey was stronger. He continued to eat quickly, trying to get as much as possible before he had to flee. Finally, after Barnaby had eaten his fill, the bee stings became unbearable. He decided it was time to retreat. Barnaby climbed down the tree quickly, groaning from the pain of the stings, but he carried with him traces of sticky honey on his mouth and fur, and the memory of the sweet taste in his mouth. Barnaby ran away from the angry tree and headed towards a nearby pond to cool his swollen body and wash off the honey. As he enjoyed the cool water, Barnaby thought about his adventure. He had endured some pain, but he had gotten what he wanted: delicious honey. Barnaby learned an important lesson that day. Getting the things we love might require some effort and risk, but the taste of success is always sweeter after hard work. And from that day on, Barnaby continued to love honey madly, but he became more cautious and clever in getting it, trying to find less painful ways to satisfy his sweet passion. And his story was told in the forest about the bear who loved honey more than anything else in the world, and who was willing to do anything to get a taste of that sticky, golden treasure.